Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to another video. So for today's Relentless Rumble, we're gonna finish up our final best team for my free-to-play account right here for the Aquatic or Trident Puffer. So this guy has a skill, Underwater Assault, which allows him to dive underwater and then refresh the Aquatic Grey Shield, which is a key part of his kit. And this skill also allows the Puffer to knock the enemy back one tile and deal damage to them. And then for the second skill, Water Protection, grants the Aquatic Grey Shield when energy is full. While the shield is active, energy recovery stops and energy taken is reduced by 50% and loses 125 energy each time damage is received until energy is depleted. So this might sound really OP on paper, but what I realized is if you use your Bonnie with your magical damage dealers as well as your lightning strike spell, yeah, you're gonna still snipe this Trident Puffer pretty fast. So without further ado, let's go into my current numbers. We're currently at 58 kills with this guy. So for you to max out your rewards, you will need at least 40 kills. So I will talk about a few team ideas that will get you 40 kills, as well as my own free-to-play best team over here, currently ranked at 26 with 58 kills. Okay, so without further ado, let's claim all our rewards, go into battle. Okay, my best team is still with my 1 copy twins together with Carolina as well as Sonia to buff up both my Graveborn damage dealers, Bonnie as well as Carolina, right? Twins is only 1 copy buffed up to the legendary tier right here, and we are going to use Smokey as the range buffer as well as the excess damage, because for this fight, Mikola's arena won't proc because there's always going to be 5 puffers. So unless you have 6 units always on the arena, you're not going to get the attack buff. And then you can consider using Hugin as well because you have Sonia. But my Hugin's not as developed, but we can definitely give Hugin a try after this one, just to see how much of a difference Hugin can make. Yeah, let me find my Hugin. Give me a moment. Okay, Hugin. Yeah, I do have a Hugin right here, but not as built up as Smokey, but we can give it a try later. So artifact of choice, we're going to do Storm Strike spell, as you guys can see. And without further ado, let's run through my best team and damage numbers. Okay, so even though the Puffer is able to knock back the enemies itself, somehow for the whole fight, even with Smoking being placed in front, he doesn't get knocked back or doesn't get cancelled in terms of the ultimate animation. So I'm assuming, right, either the Puffers did not dive underwater with their first skill, or they will dive to the nearest target to them, which is most of the time the melee units, either Lila or Twins that's just right in front of them, as you guys can see right here. Yeah, so my Sonia's a pretty good buffer on top of being an amazing damage dealer as well. And then we have the magical damage from Carolina as well as Bonnie with the Storm Strike spell to burst the opponent down. So even though there is this damage reduction ability, but like I mentioned earlier, as you guys can see, the puffers are still really melting like real life pufferfish itself. So sorry for okay, but anyway, so that's that. Like, I just thought of pufferfish because we had a fish earlier. But anyway, for this fight over here, I think the most powerful teams would be obviously the usual Harald Atalia team. I think they are probably going to be dominating this game mode for quite a bit because they are the fastest, like, carries in terms of getting online as fast as possible, and they have the highest cap in the case of Harald, where he's gonna stack up a whole bunch of stacks the more enemy he kills, right? So I think from a free-to-play player's perspective, Bonnie is probably gonna be your next best bet. I think Sonia's amazing as well as a damage dealer and also as a buffer, and then you just throw them in, put a twins and maybe throw in a whole bunch of buffers, and you should have a pretty decent team right here. So this is the damage distribution of all the different units. So if you have teams built up to Supreme Plus, then what you can do is put Bonnie as well as Carolina onto the main buffs, and then throw in either a Talon or a Harald or a Talia into your team, and I think you could probably do better than me. So that's for the first team. Now we're going to move on to other teams which could also secure 40 kills for you guys. So another team that I think was quite okay for me before this Graveborn team was the usual Iron Almas Burst. So I'm not going to use Arden because we don't actually need the control. So we're just going to use Arden, right? We're just going to use iron. So twins at 1 copy works as well. You can use them. We can obviously throw in Bonnie, but for this case, I'm not going to use Bonnie. We are going to use other damage dealers to bump up our faction. So I'll put Lily here. Lily is a pretty amazing carry as well. And then I think we just throw in a Sonya right here. You can put Lily here. Okay. So same thing. Thunderstrike spell should also solve the problem, because we get the additional magical damage. So one thing about this unit over here is that they are not immune to debuffs, right? So when Iron casts the ultimate, there's some magical defense debuff and repositioning, and Iron can also frontline. So this will give you more damage off your artifacts as well as your other magical dealers, which are Arden as well as Lily right here. Okay, so the other problem would be probably keeping the twins alive. So right now, it seems like without the Smoky and Murky, they are not surviving that well, but we should still be able to get 40 kills even without them. So let's say if you want them to survive better, maybe considering taking out Sonya and then just throwing in the Smoky. I think that should be fine as well in terms of the final runs. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're just gonna like retry, and then we're gonna just put in a Smoky in the place of Sonya. Okay, so we get like a 4-1 buff with pretty decent damage coverage. So I think Sonya will increase the upper limit of your team's damage, but I think this one works just as fine. Yeah. Okay. So like I mentioned earlier, Iron's job is to obviously give the additional control for the Arden to come online a little bit faster, while providing a little bit of magical defense debuff for the other magical damage sources. So I think Iron's damage is not going to be super duper impressive, but having twins buff up the haze allows him to spam the ultimate a lot more. So if your twins is a Supreme Plus, then him and Arden, they're going to get the bonus stats for them to survive better and do more damage. So with this team, I think we are surviving a lot better, although we lost a little bit of damage, because I think Sonya's buff and damage output is just really, really impressive. Yeah, but we should be able to still clear 40 kills right here. And 40 kill, okay, more than 29 seconds left. So that's pretty much max rewards from a free-to-play player's perspective. And then we still have 24 seconds. So for the rest of the other teams itself, I'm probably not going to talk too much about them, because like I think for most people, Iron Almost Arden is probably a thing you can use. Lily is also pretty common for most people, and if not, if you have the Grave One team, use the Grave One team. If you have Harak, try to use Harak, because Harak's one of the best units against basically a very general population of the Relentless Rumble game mode, with the ability to stack up the damage number. So this is the final damage number for this team, and I guess that's pretty much it, right? If you do have other questions as to what other teams you can form with very specific Storm units in your account, do let me know in the comment section, then maybe I'll try to reply you ASAP, or other experienced players can try to reply you based on their experience in the game itself. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like, subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.